around him, and maybe the squad. We know he's potentially around. We just don't know where that's gone, and it's left Invictus Gaming as a bit of an unknown. But unfortunately, the unknown is in this case not a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference so much as well, what exactly are you doing with this roster? Still be Zuyan in the top lane, and Griffith, of course, coming on in, and some of those bans already on the table.
This IG team is already going to trip me up with pronunciation. So just for the record, everyone, it is Griffith in the jungle. We've nailed that one. It's Zuyan in the top lane.
Not Zuyan. Okay,
Not Zuyan. Zuyan. Up towards that top lane for IG, of course. I don't think he's necessarily been the problem for this team. I don't even think you can really point to an individual member for this one. They've just had a lot of issues as a team across the board. I wonder if they're going to get themselves a Tristana as the first pick. It's open. Arn has his Draven removed. I would imagine the Tristana is just the easy pick to lock in. It's so easy to play around.
And it's immediately locked. You called it out just perfectly. Now we need to see whether something like the Karthus or whatever comes following in. As we see, that's exactly what AL do. They've got themselves the AD mid laner and that nuclear laser from space.
So, AL knew that the Tristana was going to come through. Shanks locks in the Corki. He was solo killing Rookie in this matchup, by the way, just earlier this week. Shanks had a fantastic series versus the Ninjas in Pyjamas. I really feel like Shanks and Croco on this AD AP jungle with Shanks laning price can do a lot of work. IG, they need to find magic damage somewhere else in their kit right now. With the Tristana locked in, it's going to be that Talia in the jungle most likely.
Most likely, unless the Tristana, I suppose, theoretically could get flex bot, especially with something like a Leona. You can make that the kill combo, I suppose. So there is still that room to flex, but I agree with the statement that most likely is going towards the mid lane. So anyone's legend want to lock in. They've also got themselves a mid and jungle nominally locked in, even if Corki is supposedly occasionally a bot laner, depending on where you look. But the Nautilus going to be the lock-in here as well to match the Leona, and that shouldn't surprise anybody, guys. Those are all very high-end picks that people have been very happy to blind and run early on in the Fearless drafting meta.
You know, we had so many years of Nautilus Leona. I'm so glad that we finally returned back to it, though, because our support team are really good at it. Vampire has had a bit of a struggle in his debut year in the LPL. Having something like the Leona can help him kind of stabilize and potentially towards their result and combo up with that Talia. Now, AL, they have themselves a strong combo. On the other side as well, you can see that they're banning away some magic damage from elsewhere in the composition from Invictus Gaming. With something like that Leona, yes, the Ziggs could have come through as an artillery bot towards the bot side. IG, they're banning away potentially what could have been an AD Varus as well. Wouldn't surprise me if they lock away the Callista too, that if they are afraid of that long-range poke combo. It's also very lane dominant. On the side of AL, I don't really know what else you want to ban away here in terms of stuff that can add to the combo. The Ziggs was the big one they've taken off the table already. They could ban the Cassante maybe as something that could avoid that combo. And of course for Zuyan as well, it'd be a bit of a stable pick to allow to stop AL having as much counter pick value. And instead they do ban out the Callista themselves. Surprised at that. Thought IG would take that one away.
Yeah, that's going to be the choice there, and I think these are a little bit more specificity for sure, and I think the fact that there are more AD carry bans coming on through, but remember, of course, that both of those AD carries that are locked in currently could strictly be flexed towards the bot lane if required, but instead we see the fourth pick here being towards the Jinx. That's now the lock-in, of course, another champion that has been rising in popularity. You've now got a very long-range backline, you've got the Nautilus a bit of frontline, the Karthus obviously can follow on top of that. Just a hover of the Misfortune right now, but some of the crit itemization changed. I was hearing some of the Misfortune mains saying the ultimate feels pretty good right now, but we're going to wait until we see just exactly what they want to lock in.
Some of the combos have, of course, been taken away, and the Jinx on the other side, you want something that can shut that down in lane. So we do see LPL's first Misfortune of summer. We saw some of it in spring, particularly from Prince on Team W. Of course, he's no longer with that team, but we saw a bit of that. This combo is really nasty, and it buys a lot of space. There isn't really anyone who wants to stand in the bullet time. The Nautilus can't survive that, even if they're very tanky. So now you're looking at AL. What can you do to make sure you're not just running straight down the center of this composition? I wonder if something like a Kennen could work out, but that kind of sucks into the Udyr. Rumble's already banned, which is one of the better top lane matchups into that tank there. You really want something that can not stand down the front and center. It can break open the composition of IG and force them to fight in multiple directions. That's the goal. And Arla, of course, player which does play a lot of carries towards that top side, but doesn't necessarily have the best angle for a Jax. Goes for the Renekton instead. It's going to be a little hard to play that Croc in the top side. I think it's okay in the laning phase. I really feel like IG, if they hit the first target and AL don't have a flank to disrupt that Misfortune ultimate, I think things could go badly for Anyone's Legend quite early on. IG, for me, walk away with a pretty decent draft.
I think I tend to agree here. They have certainly got some dangerous combos. I think people like Zuyan, of course, are going to want to get value out of the Udyr early. It does feel like that champion in particular has kind of become a little bit maligned, or a little bit of an eyebrow rise for certain people, just in the sense of the early lane always looks fine, but that mid-game fall-off is sometimes so dramatic as to make the mid-game feel pretty hard to work, I suppose, or make work, rather.
So, IG, we said that they probably needed to skirmish and snowball and force Anyone's Legend away from their very clean macro play. They can do that with Leona. I think they can do that with the Udyr pushing in as well, where both of them can leave their lane early and get towards early plays. We will see exactly how that happens. Folks, if you're watching in on stream, we do have, of course, a new setup. We have the clean feed, so you'll be able to hear the game sounds. Let us know what audio's like. Let us know if you're enjoying the show, and drop ourselves a follow as well if you're enjoying it as well while the English broadcast isn't on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm Nymaera, this is Initialise. We'll be bringing you both the series today, and I really feel like, once again, AL have themselves a great chance to prove themselves on the Rift that they do deserve to be looked at as a top LPL team as we move further into the tournament. It's only the group stage, but they have shown themselves some really good League of Legends bluntly on the Rift so far. Cannot wait to see where this trajectory takes them. It feels like they are onto something special with this group, this coach, this roster.
Rift finally on our screens. Jail's beginning. Question, of course, about exactly how far Anyone's Legend can go. It's a little bit of a level 1 setup goes along. Not too much seen from it all the same, just a little bit of a look on in there. I don't think we're looking at a lane swap right now, as the Nautilus and the Jinx seem to be moving back towards the bot lane again.
And yeah, you did see that there was a brief moment of a group towards the top side. We have seen some interesting level 1s come through. Typically that happens when you have a big 1v1 advantage. I think you could go for a lane swap if you were Anyone's Legend to survive the Misfortune very early laning phase. It's going to be the first strike Misfortune, which makes some sense because, of course, you can instantly proc that with the Make It Rain. It's very easy to proc that one and get the 15 gold for each proc pretty much on cooldown. Gets you a lot of gold, can get you through to good item spike. You already have a crit carry in the mid lane that can kill tanks. You can go towards the lethality build as the Misfortune if you really want to do that as well, and just go for your ultimate and be more of a poke champion in the laning phase once you get that Dirk and stuff too. So I have to track Alan's build and see how he gets up to that quickly with something like that first strike.
Sometimes easier said than done, of course, as you still have to play out the mid game, and Misfortune notoriously susceptible, shall we say, to hard CC and engage, unless you have very good fancy feet. Of course, with W and Ghostblade in the past, Misfortune was in fact quite mobile just in terms of this raw move speed, but no dashes or anything in the kit.
And the thing about Misfortune was also that she got to move around the map really quickly too, because Kyle misses that hook at the level 1. Yeah, because she could use the strut to just get across the map really quickly. Level 2 hit by Hope and Kyle, of course. The level 1 Fish Bones, the rocket launcher, gives you really good wave control. It's one of the better things about Jinx, even when she doesn't have necessarily combat stats to kill you in all metas and all patches. Feels like with that, she can get a lot of value. Oh, farming well in this turret here, actually. It's quite impressive with that.
All I'm saying is, it just proves that style is actually what gives you speed. Never mind red go faster strikes, just strut, guys, and that'll give you the speed you need to cross Summoner's Rift.
Is the orc psychology where each of the colors actually has magical powers.
Exactly.
So actually, yes, if you paint yourself red, you actually go faster.
She's got red hair. Maybe that's
right,
maybe that's what it is.
Right.
Red hair and high heels
Incredible.
makes you walk really fast, guys.
It all makes sense now. And her guns are actually just sticks of dynamite with a brief bit of wiring to them. They shouldn't actually function as guns, but they do because they believe so heavily in them.
I think actually in this skin, it's a pair of candles lodged into like candle holders.
Exactly. It makes sense.
You know?
Equally nonsensical. Equally nonsensical.
Well, after that hard-hitting bit of analysis, maybe we want to look at a mid lane here. As Nani about to have a Karthus walk behind him, throw down the wall of pain, holds on to the W for a second, but actually means isn't going to get that far down the lane, but it's just out of range of Karthus Qs, with the exception of one landing there. They managed to get a jump but nothing more.
About 2 for 5 on the Qs there, including the one which should have been guaranteed when that jump was coming through. You just aim at a max distance and it should have been. Okay, that one all the way, all the same. It does end up giving a bit of a reprieve to Shanks in this mid lane. Tristana is a very good early pushing champion. Crocker gets himself the top Scuttle Crab. Griffith gets himself the bottom one. And it feels like jungle, at least, with the 2 AP farming junglers, even for now. Both of them are going to go back and get themselves that first back of the game. Crocker, of course, going towards the Fated Ashes, is going to start really taking off in terms of clear speed very, very soon after this point. It's been a little quiet, again, for those of you that want the early bloodshed. It's a lot harder to do that with a Karthus in the game and a Talia in the game. They are not level 3 gankers. They're not level 4 skirmishers like the Shinsa, the Lee Sin, or that kind of class of champion. What they will do, though, at level 6, now after this point with the first back, and they get a bit of AP under their belts as well, they clear very quickly so they can be present for the first skirmishes of the game, with Vampire and Kyle trying to pull the trigger on the Nautilus and the Leona for themselves. And when they get to level 6, obviously then they have global impact as well. You have the Weaver's Wall, and you have the Requiem to effectively gank anywhere on the map at any time.
That's the plan, at least, and you've got some tools to make that happen. But you're still really on the Karthus, as you said, wanting to get towards level 6 absolutely fast as you can. And theoretically, you've got double globals of a sort between the Talia and the Karthus. I just think that the Weaver's Wall is that little bit slower and that bit more unwieldy to use theoretically than the Karthus, but it comes up a lot faster. You actually don't... you have to bring your whole body there rather than just one ability.
I don't know. I really don't think there's an inherent difficulty between them because there's a lot of timing with Karthus, and then with Talia, you get to have your full kit once you land. Karthus doesn't get to, you know, magically teleport himself there. So I actually think that Talia, given how practiced it's been, has actually been a really easy thing for a lot of teams to work on. Look, every mid laner should be telling their jungler how to play this champion by now.
I think there's some truth to that theoretically, but again, it's just, we need to see exactly how it works, especially for a team like Invictus Gaming, who haven't been the most coordinated as yet, and I do think there's something to just pressing R compared to bringing people down at the right time, but a little bit of a grouping around mid lane
Shanks
makes
really
this one a bit interesting, but yeah, the damage back is just going to be a bit difficult for Nany to manage.
Worth noting as well, this is going to be the crit Corki. It's not going to be the lethality one with Halo Blades because of that fleet footwork and inventory. In runes, that's the one. It means that he's going to be very, very good at kind of like killing the tanks a little later on. Aren't actually getting out-traded here by Hope. Hope trading really well on the Jinx, getting a lot of damage here, hits the zap as well, burns the heal from the Misfortune. And it feels like this AD carry matchup, which we thought would be more lane dominant from the Misfortune, taking a bad trade there.
Pretty rough to see, and actually from my understanding as well, because I was chatting to a couple of the higher elo Misfortune means about a month ago, so some of that's obviously changed with the itemization changes and all the rest of it, but they were still saying, actually, Misfortune isn't the lane bully in some ways that she used to be, because you get outranged a little bit, unless you're landing those really good double ups.
And I guess you're not using the Comet as much now as well,
and so like, and your auto-Q autos, like, that's great, but then everyone else just better consistent damage than you, so you've got really good burst, especially at level 6, but your poke traits aren't as deadly as they may once have been.
That's fair. I still think that Jinx is not meant to be good in early games. So there's like...
even so weirdly, I think.
Yeah, even then, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe shouldn't be losing that so much. But Arn and Vampire can have themselves a decent time there. I'll pulse the ult to make sure that they can get up towards a better trade, get control of that wave. Of course, while all this was happening, we've been talking a lot about different things about globals and whatever. So we had a Dragon go over to the side of Invictus Gaming, 3 Grubs over to the side of anyone's Legend. We're going to have those Grubs spawning in those 3 minutes. If AL get themselves 6 Grubs, that's when we start having ourselves some big questions, because it's all the Grubs taken away from the Tristana, who normally loves to have them in a side lane for the mid game when you start moving towards solo laners trying to split the map and take the outer turrets for themselves. And then AL, we'll see if they can stop IG fully stacking dragons as well. That has been one of the big things about LPL. You get 2 early dragons, you just can avoid a couple and get a load of gold and potentially win yourself some more mid-game trades that way. As we get these next resets through as well, it has been a continuation of a very slow early game. Going to get ourselves no backs interrupted here.
I feel like we've had some relatively slow early games the last couple days. We had that one game which was absolutely crazy bloody, but outside of that, it's felt like we've actually had relatively controlled early games, with the exception of some of the violence in poke numbers, as Nany once again...
Oh, with his Karthus ult.
Oh, hang on.
He gets him!
He's got him!
Okay, you know what, Sam? I take it back. Karthus is pretty damn easy. You wait for your mid laner to get themselves all of that rocket regen. For those of you that don't know the changes to Corki, yes, he went to World AD. He also gets more rocket cooldown when you auto-attack champions. Croco just ganked mid. He's going to gank top lane, and they might just kill Zwian.
Who needs to be in a lane to gank it, eh? Karthus does it all, manages to put pressure on 2 lanes at once, and Zwian dead to rights. Croco gets 2 kills in the space of 30 seconds.
Oh boy, and so it begins. Croco, 2 kills. Is he going to go back and get a full Blackfire Torch? He is. Griffith going towards bot side, trying to kill Hope, force out the flash, but this is just not the same. It's not the same impact of getting that kill in mid lane after Shanks gets himself a great 1v1, getting the top lane kill. The first goal of the game from these junglers could not be more different.
And the value on the map is dangerous to behold, because of course this Karthus getting ahead. Realistically, you've got 2 AD carries and a Talia, neither of which, actually we'll talk about that a little later, as Croco is engaged on Solar Flare into the bullet time, but actually the Chompers will root him up. No, it doesn't matter though, as the Seismic Shove after comes down. Now it's a 4v2 on the bot lane as Kyle has to flash away. Shanks now coming on over though, and the rocket damage is foul. Nani has to flash, does not have the W yet. Buster shot it away, are now in danger, trying to get further away, but the Misfortune in an unfortunate place. Nowhere really to run, tries to get the last order, does at least get one back before they go down. But it's still in the end, AL who come out on top in the grand exchange of things.
Is that a 2 for 4 at 9 minutes into the game?
So.
I think it is. And you've got the top laners fighting as well. Hope stacks up multiple parts of the passive. Remember, Jinx can do that now. You don't just get excited, it's like getting excited multiple times. And AL run away with it with a huge amount of gold spread between all of their carries. That is disaster for IG. We said that they needed to skirmish early. This is part of that. Vampire misses the Zenith Blade. It means the combo's not quite as clean as it would have liked. It means that actually Arn puts himself out of position onto the Chombers, and they have to stay a little bit longer and go a little bit deeper than they would have liked. Then Hope gets himself the ult and gets himself multiple get excited procs on the passive, those resets. And that means that the extra move speed and that attack speed keeps going. Croco's no flash now, and he's got caught out again.
Ooh, big chunk onto that Karthus, trying to get some damage down on the way out. Actually does get a fairly decent chunk. Does have the ultimate to pop as well, theoretically here. Won't need to pop it quite yet. As another person does go down. Arn now running away from Shanks with a Gatling gun. Brings down to earth, and yes, you got the Karthus, but you just brought him into your team so he could AoE DPS you.
And Croco didn't even need the ult. His ult's still on cooldown, only just came back up now. Imagine how much worse that would have been if it happened a couple of seconds later. It's still, what, a 1 for 2 overall. We said that IG, they kind of need to blow this game open. Not like that. Not like this. They've just ended up giving so much gold over to Croco. He's going to get himself towards a super early Leandries, you have to imagine, very early onto the table after this point. You know what? I almost wonder if he should skip something like Magic was decide him third at that point. It just goes towards Malignance because of the pace of this game. Croco walks up too far. You can see that they're trying to get themselves the 6 grub full house and get Grubageddon. Really important. Does get caught out trying to force his way into the river though. At least they end up winning themselves the fight. Now, this does, of course, mean that Annual Sledge are a little bit behind on the resets, and it does mean they're going to lose themselves the grubs at the end of this, and you see the clean if they kill that, but at least they'll stop the dragons being stacked from IG.
Okay, dragon stacking is stopped. Grubs traded as well. Bot lane though, Nani, oh Nani, nowhere really to go. Throws out a buster shot briefly that throws Shanks back for about a second. Gonna try and jump onto Kyle, who gets slowed, not stunned until just now. The bullet time brings the Nautilus down to earth, though it will be Vampire that secures the kill, frustratingly, for the side of Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, you'd like that goal of the Misfortune if you could, but I mean, Shanks has got an absolute bank full at this point. 2k up onto the Tristana. Tristana is still a... it's not going to stop anything. Trying to stop the resets, though. Tristana is still a champion that loves to snowball, loves to be ahead of the game. But Shanks showing that exactly like he did against the Ninjas in Pajamas. Just knowing the matchup really well, getting the better of Nani in the important moments, and is now so far ahead of the game. Going to get themselves to Infinity Edge very, very quickly. They're all almost about to stack their cull as well. Shanks is about to take off again.
He is going to be such a monster, and this is a player who... we kind of said it in the pre-game as well when we were kind of musing about these teams and setting some expectations and doing a bit of storytelling in general. Shanks is a player who has been so close to greatness so many times. Has had those real moments of it, but never consistently so. This team, now with these players coming together, with the coaching staff they've got, Ale, Tabe, all these things coming together, this is his moment to shine, and putting on performances like this, day in, day out, is a fantastic sign for anyone's legend.
And he's just cashed in that call, so he was 2,000 gold ahead, he's now 2,500 gold ahead, just about. Very, very strong. Ale as well has himself that eclipse towards the top side. It's a great fighting item. We've seen that a lot of Renekton's in the LPL go back towards this to just kind of assassinate one of the first targets. It's great if it's not the Udyr or the Leona. I think Ale's still got himself a fairly difficult game. Shanks, he has himself a less difficult game when he has this much gold, but he's jumped forwards and has no flash. Griffith can kill him, maybe.
They've got to be a bit careful because the Requiem back can make this quite tricky. Nani's so low, nearly dies just incidentally there. Now Kyle coming on down, and Shanks has the orbital laser, fire support coming on in, and Rizzo's Helldivers as another one of those kind of opportunities to press up, down, left, right a few times. Doesn't quite lead to a kill.
Vampire, no! He misses out on that ult. That would have been a huge shutdown, potentially for Arn following up with that ult. Very, very close, and the hook comes through. I don't think Arn can even stand it off now.
Oh boy, so much danger. But wait, the Zenith Blade means that Shanks now in danger. The lethality and an ultimate brings him down to earth, but it will still be a 1-for-1. Arn just can't get a clean kill. At least they finally get the shutdown, though, and that's some gold back.
It's some gold over to the Misfortune, which is important. You can see that they do end up getting themselves the Misfortune ult, even though Kyle does his best to try and stop it. Credit to Kyle there. I think he was really on the same page as the rest of the team. All his job was to stop a big ult coming in there. Nani's now roaming towards top side. Ale does have ult, does have flash, pulls the ult early. Nani would have to try and get himself into range somehow. Ale, does he see the Tristana there? I don't think he does right now.
And a reminder, he's just taken the top turret by himself in this 1v1. Does so much damage to the 1v2, nearly gets Nani, and he just burns him down!
It's the minions which end up getting the kill! The minions!
Oh, no!
Absolute wingman, and another fighter support as well. Air superiority coming in alongside the landmass as well. Croco goes and cleans up the jungle camps. It could not get worse from IG in anyone's legend. Once again, showing us why we are so excited about this team.
They are just putting on a clinic. Shanks has been monumental in the mid lane, but turn your eyes, stop. We saw one gank top lane, and that's been it. Reminder to people who were watching last week, this is a guy who took the Rumble into the Jax matchup and managed to just destroy it in 10 minutes solid. This guy with a lead is so deadly. This guy in a 1v1 is so dangerous.
The Darius
Sorry,
flash,
yes.
Darius. I was like, I got a second. I don't remember a Jax in that game, but all the same. Anyone's legend, you know, they look so comfortable right now, and IG, I think as soon as their players started to go wrong when they were overreaching for the big Misfortune combos, they've started to fall further and further into the abyss. We said that the Eclipse is really kind of nasty for the Renekton, huge turnaround damage, and with the second level ultimate, gets a huge amount of rage per second, and the extra damage coming through from this as well. He jumps into the minions, and they definitely help out. And as we said, the air superiority, fire control coming in from anyone's legend, and really, really helping out their top laner and side lane. And they might just go straight back towards his lane.
Well, do just that, Ale. Gonna get the W route down, so trying to cull the Meek for a moment. We'll take the tower out, and the Requiem comes flying on through Kyle pretty low. The rocket goes wide, though, so no turnaround kill, and Kyle does trade their life as too many members of Invictus Gaming were there.
I think that ultimate from Karthus, though, still ends up making this a difficult situation for IG, because they've been chunked out on the bot side of the map. That's going to be Dragon likely falling. I mean, Karthus can solo that one. You've got to teleport back towards the top side, so you can't get the objective bounty. By the way, at 16 minutes into the game, you can't even get that. This is how out of proportion this game is. It's before 20 minutes, you have a scaling composition from AL with a Karthus and a Corki and a Jinx, and they are ahead over 6,000 gold. That is how badly this game has gone for Invictus Gaming, and once again showing why we're excited for anyone's legend. They're playing well around their globals, they're playing well around the skirmishes. This isn't just individual hand stiff, yes it's there too, but it's also just being on the same page as Shanks going forwards again.
Zuian needs to run away, gets a bit of CC down, but now we see the wall of pain come on in, teleport in response, and be a number of members, in fact all of Invictus Gaming here, but this means they're not taking any of these waves or minions in elsewhere on the map, so just losing a lot of gold to just try and prevent the 1v1s.
And yeah, it feels like every time IG go for that kind of play, the teleport leads to kills. Shanks has flash, has Valkyrie, gets out of the Zenith Blade.
Does at that. Kyle now Spider-Manning his way with a dredge line to the wall. Hope coming on down. Now the turnaround could get a little bit scary as Vampires burn quite a lot. The bullet time, though, well spaced to make it a 1-for-1 in supports.
Hope gets himself the reset. Need to back off from that one while all this is happening. Here comes Ale.
Forced a buster shot out of Nani. Ale actually also quite low, having taken a few turret shots there, so probably needs to reset, I suspect.
Yeah, he doesn't have himself a teleport to get back onto the map either, Nani. Dude, yeah, the thing is, you jump towards that, he probably gets himself an auto reset, auto reset just the Eclipse Shield. He might genuinely one-shot from that HP before Nani could get the kill, because he doesn't have the best buster shot as the one piece of hard CC in Tristana's kit. Your jumpers are slow, it doesn't stop people from auto-attacking you and mashing your brains against the floor, as Renekton was like to see. It has the propane Hydra now, Sam. He's cooking on hydrocarbons. As Shanks, we saw what happens there. Like, they've tried so hard to get the key target. They can only catch the Nautilus. That is how poor it's going for them. Ala once again on top side. This time it's a 1v3. Here comes the Karthus again.
And then he was still there. The Karthus comes down. And again, it's just dissuading the full play. It does prove to be a bit too much. But now the hook comes on in. Shanks will Valkyrie forward to the depth charge onto Nani on the other side. Arn in a 1v2 with Gorgo still dies. Zuyan now slowed as Hope lands a zap and he must run away. The Blazing Stampede will get him out to safety, but people just die.
It's 19 minutes! This shouldn't be happening at 19 minutes into the game. An absurd gold lead, and an absurd snowball, an absurd team play from anyone's Legend. This is some of the cleanest unit play we are seeing in China right now. It feels like anyone's Legend with Tabe as the coach, with Ala coming in as the top laner. This team has found themselves an extra gear towards where in spring they'd be petering out around this point in the game, where they'd be struggling to play as a unit, struggling to play around objectives. These guys are very much on the same page, and with 2 items apiece, they have so much damage. Here comes Vampire, though.
Some damage back. Vampire now in a dangerous position. Ale tries to get to the backline and deal with Arna. They don't quite do it as cleanly as they'd like. It's a 1-for-1 right now. The problem is Hope is still alive. Griffith trying to land those threaded volleys will finally bring the Jinx down, but the HP bar's now disastrously low. But Shanks has no mana. He's about to fall down. Arn presses Q and will get the kill.
Oh, heartbreak for Shanks in the mid lane. He was on a triple kill. There were 2 low health members left. But as you rightly said, no mana to finish it up. If he had that, that would have been definitely an accolade to throw into the back pockets of Shanks. We've been talking about this mid lane an awful lot from before the game and coming into the Rift as well. Shanks, he has been on the cusp of elite mid laner for so long, but never really had those high-profile victories and high-profile team performances to prove it. These kind of fights, though, in this early season is looking like the start of something special. He's the one that gets caught out at first, but he Valkyrie's out. He's absolutely safe to do that. And you can see that the combo just comes in a little bit late from Arn, but it has to be late because of the threat onto the backline from Ala. It means that it's a much difficult fight for him.
GLFS nearly doesn't get the kill there onto Hope, and it all gets a bit spicy as Arn doesn't have the biggest HP bar, but you can see Shanks' mana pool is non-existent. Does finally get that double up to win that one out. Worth noting as well, actually, during all that play, the observers slowed down to catch it on the replay. Kyle managed to land a phenomenal dredge line to pull Nani out of the air as he was trying to get a combo off.
Oh, man. And this is the special thing. They're doing everything well. The macro, the micro, the everything. Can they fight for the Baron? IG feels a bit desperate, but they're burning it down well. Croco, I don't think he's got a great entrance into this, and here comes Shanks.
Alright, damage back. The depth charge is pretty huge. Croco is eviscerated, though. They're going to throw down a Requiem nonetheless, and this is always a problem with Karthus. You can kill him, but it doesn't mean he's out of the fight, and it turns into a 1-for-1 again.
And the thing is, they don't have a smite, but they might just be able to go towards this anyway. They have the double AD carries, and if they kill it, Hope will get that first stack of Get Excited, so they need to be careful not to give this over. You're looking for a wall in. What can Griffith do?
Oh, he's very low. Gets some damage onto Hope. Doesn't get excited in time, and now Zuyan can get to the backline. They're just dead, though, as the Mika called, and a Ruthless Predator or two still remains on the Rift in anyone's Legend's favor.
And Shanks and Ala will be left alive to two-man the Baron. Ala's not that tanky, might actually be a difficult situation. Shanks also has no matter. Are they going to be able to do this? I don't think that Crocker can come up in time. Waiting on cooldowns, waiting on the... I don't think they can do it! It's going to be...
No!
No! Shanks and Ala killed by the Baron. IG could not do what the Baron could. And anyone's Legend lose 2 to the Baron after all is said and done.
He had no mana, man. That's just fantastic. That's not a very tanky Renekton with this build. And we can see that maybe with some of the debuffs to resistances from Baron, that things could have been fine.
Does this mean that IG can get the Baron because Shanks and Ala's overstayed? die. Anyone's Legend, no, they have given up the Baron, even though they won the fight. At 23 minutes, even with a 10,000 gold lead, AL will give up the Baron because they died to it after a one fight.
Anyone's Lifeline throwing a Preserver out into the Rift to maybe keep IG in the game just briefly. They've got a lot of bounties to get.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The objective bounty is going to come through. Folks, I don't think this actually extends the game that much longer from IG. The Dragon goes over to AL, and the gold they have is still absolutely insurmountable. My problem is, if IG walk up to push a wave, I'm pretty sure they die anyway. This is what happened after Croco was caught. No, they don't have Smite, they don't have the damage onto the Baron here, and Griffith does a really good job of comboing up with Nani to kill the Jinx. There are no resets after this point, and they get enough damage through. But Anyone's Legend, their solo laners, powerful may they be, do not have the health, do not have the mana to get this out. It goes down to such an absurdly low amount. Shanks, no abilities left, takes it down to how much HP? Oh, 82 HP! 82 HP! And they can't finish the job.
They said they buffed Baron. I don't know whether that is in a action or... Well, anyway, it's fine. It's done. Anyone's Legend still very much in control. It's an 11 kill Corki with 3.5 items. The game is still likely done, but a little bit of trolling, so they say. Around the Baron pit.
On second, on further revision, we have discovered that this was a normal Summoner's Rift experience. And no negative gaming was taken part of this day. So Anyone's Legend, they're fighting against the Baron buff. Arla will get back to base, and Vampire's ult will not connect. They get away with that one. Nani pushing in the side lane, trying to get some more gold, but this is going to be on stopping that ult.
He's got the spell shield now. It's harder to stop that as Kyle goes down. They've lost 2. They managed to get 1 back finally. The HP bars are very, very low, and the problem is it's Hope and Shanks who are alive still, and that's so much of the damage. They look like they've finally found a slightly better fight. It's just who remains does too much work, and Anyone's Legend with a minion wave and only Zuian and Nani remaining.
Shanks has a triple. Shanks has a triple. I'm just saying, he had this in the base before. This time he has mana.
Doesn't quite have enough damage, and a jump away keeps Nani alive, and the turret's under siege. Hope still pretty low, and Arlet actually coming on down now will make this a 3v2 in the base.
Well, Shanks very, very strong double buffs. That's going to be the bomb. It will kill, I think, unless he can lifesteal.
He's going to get some back. It's not enough. Too late in the game to save himself there, but still, Nani falls to the crocodile.
The minions!
Not to Croco. The minion. Shanks, not again. He's been more under threat by the neutrals than anything else in this game. Finally manages to get away. The Nexus turret will also fall, and the Nexus is bare but not down. Oh, my days. Back away for now. The game's not over.
And Invictus Gaming, they survive at the Nexus, but at what cost? I feel like this game has gone a little bit off the rails from where it should be. I think that one's quite fair to say. I might even being polite about that one. I don't think this game is going to end around objectives. If it does, it'll take another 2 minutes. One last fight is all really Anyone's Legend need. You can see that a couple of times now. The engage, not quite quick enough from IG. They don't quite hit the skill shots. They do get the kills onto some important members, but it's not onto the full carries. They get the Karthus down. I think they've been doing that quite well. But even then, quite lucky here to not get hit by the Jinx ult. I think that would have been another Q2 kills right out of the bat. They are lucky that they are just about holding on to life. And once again, it is a survival. It doesn't actually increase their standing in this game. The gold lead has reduced a little bit, but you're against such a high scale and composition. I don't really think it changes the outcome still.
It really doesn't. There's a death cap now on the Corki, 3 items on Jinx, 4 items on Corki, 3 items again onto this Crocodile. Do so much work. They're an active Kyle. Slightly tricky position. Zuian has gone forward for that. Now teleport to the backline. Everyone from Invictus Gaming needs to run away. The depth charge knocks up the Udyr, and there's nowhere to go but down.
That's a zap landing as well. Even though slows are very important, the hooks, the CC.
The Zenith Blade as well buffered through will make this a 1-for-1. Both supports traded again. Nani now in a dangerous position as the Requiem comes flying on through. There's double burn, so Nani needs to get back to the fountain now, or that burn is going to sting quite a lot. Does manage to stay alive. The bullet time gets Hope, so Arn gets out. The problem is the Nexus is still bare, and Shanks is still alive. The game will still end. Invictus Gaming, they find a brief moment, but it is all in the end a ruse. No real way for them to come back in this game.
And Invictus Gaming may not be the Invictus Giant Slayers they were of last year, taking down the likes of BLG and all of those top performing teams. They beat every world competitive team from LPL last year. It's been a hard year for them so far, though. It feels like this summer has been the beginning of a death spiral for them. And Anyone's Legend, this has been the start of a rise to greatness for